Constantine from the Foolosopher here. Today I want to talk about one observation that I made when I went the third time in Vegas, or the second time, or all those times. That Vegas is one day in Vegas for me. I related to 10 years in Los Angeles. Living in Vegas for one day is pretty much LA slow motion. As a person who lived in LA for over 30 years, I noticed that I was like, it's a place of dreams. It's a place of delusions, hope, to win, to become, successful, to make money, to get the dream going. And the reality is, the reason many people are millionaires is because, it's one out of the million, in a sense. It's like it takes, to be famous or, to get 1 million followers. You need to, connect with the masses. You have to be, a person kind of like, the person. It's, it's not for everybody. So the same goes with Vegas. All those, the winners are 1 in a million. It's not for everybody. Of course, they're gonna be, sometimes many at a time. And so many people, they delusion themselves, and they go, to the casino every day and try again and try again and try again, and they have small wins, and they go, so they go get more addicted and they stay longer. Same thing happened to me, and everybody who stays there, it's like, they're like, maybe next time, I'll do better, or next time I'll try again. It's kind of like a relationship, the same thing, relationship. You think like, maybe next time it's better and better, and then you go back to zero, or up and down, like a gambler, like an addiction. And hello. And I noticed that, as time went by, because in the beginning I didn't connect that like this, but you realize that all these lights, all this, in Vegas, somebody has to pay, the losers, the mass, the consumers, they pay the bill, the dreamers who go all day, play the roulette or whatever, they call the machine, where they put a few, quarters. They do it over and over, addicted, like robots, zombie state, delusional, for the hope, of a dream to win, and then, guess, you become kind of like a tool, because when you win, suddenly you become, most likely you're going to spend it, you're going to go back to zero, you have no idea what you're doing. That's not the point, the point of life is to get better, not to win money or just collect, financial benefits. And I realized that, because, because, it's very tempting, when you go to Vegas, you're like, oh my God, those days, especially nowadays it changed, because the economy is, is in crumbles. It's crumbling, so everything is going more expensive. But those days, I remember they had like, the food was cheap. You could go there. The hotels were very good price. So they want you. They want your money. They give you benefits. They give you kind of like, it's kind of, those. When you go to a market and you have your coupon card, they give you those points. Whatever. They want you to come back. Because they know at the end they're going to lose. The odds are against you. And same with Los Angeles. You go there, you're hopeful. You're like, oh man, I'm going to make it. It's kind of like the movie Mulholland Drive, David Lynch. Highly recommend. Yeah, it's like a dream, it's an illusion. And the sad reality is that most people, it will be just a dream, because in order to make it, first of all, like I said, it's kind of like, Vegas is an analogy. It's not exactly the same, but, it's a pace kind of, the difference. One is, in one day you'll feel it if you stay 10 years in a big city, like LA, New York. That all those dreams, eventually will go, time will fly and, and you end up, like I see some people, who work in those casinos, they're like 60, keep working there. And, it's very parallel, with what happens to, to LA, many people are like, they have maybe homes, but they owe so much in debt or something. And they're stuck, with a job at Walmart, who knows what, crappy job, they cannot retire. So it's kind of, they put all in, they went all in to make this work. they sacrifice their life, and yeah, I mean, many people will make it through though, and you have to, and good for them, and I'm not against, but so the odds, are not for you, and yeah, all those flashing lights, all these people you see there, especially, like, I mean, most of them are miserable, and that's why I think LA. That's why probably I was going to try and tell, like, the anger, the anxiety, the stress. People. I know people who have like heart attacks, multiple, heart attacks and stress, obesity, bad diets. From all the stress, kind of like gamblers in Vegas. Smoking, drugs, just addictions. Eating, whatever. Yeah, I mean, the eating especially. That's like pandemic in America. Everybody's eating like 10 times more than they should, and all this garbage food. And yeah, it's really sad to see, that, and that's why I never want to go back. I mean, I like the shows there. I used to like that, but I was like, no, thank you. When I saw this energy of, and that's why I left LA eventually. I was like, it took me a while to take, to take action because I had to plan. I have to find the right moment. But it's truly a sad thing to see, that a beautiful, place like Vegas and LA and even other cities like New York are just unfortunately there's not the right thing to say, I'm not against it. Especially I would say Vegas is more like aiming towards the devil, where all the things that happen in Vegas stay in Vegas. A lot of bad things happen, gambling, alcohol, smoking, cheating, a lot of prostitution there, everybody, a lot of things going on there, like disgusting. I mean, and the same goes in the same exactly the same goes in LA. Even the people who make it, most of them have like like you saw Didi, like perverts, like Einstein, whatever his name, Einstein list. Those pedophiles, whatever. It's perverted people, because those environments, like kind of giving Hollywood itself. I'm sure, I mean, we don't make this up, it's a perverted place, and it's a devil, It's like, unfortunately, not like LA's fault. It's not like, the city's fault. It's just the people who gather there, the sick people, in order to stay there forever, Yeah, unfortunately, if you want to make it, if you want to, go forward, and it's not everybody. Of course, there are people, like in Vegas, for example, there are legit people who do some work and like and they make good money, like probably engineers or security guards or whatever, or policemen. But I'm saying a big percentage, of the crowd who goes there, the consumer, the mass, gets, eventually drawn to the devil to do, sneaky things. For example, sleep around with producers to go forward, directors, dating, sleeping around, I mean, just competing with everybody, and coming sideways, like to get a role, to do anything, play any games, hurt each other, probably, even crack somebody's legs. I wouldn't be surprised if you go violent. But it's a very, very evil place, evil, energy. Everybody, has your friend, so they can, make connections with other people. It's like a little mafia, But that's what. That's why I noticed, and that's why I was like, this is not a healthy place to be, and the quality, I said before, the value, has gone down, especially with the inflation. So I was like, this is like the last nail in the coffin. And yeah, it was a good, I mean, it was a good experience to see. It's kind of, you go to hell and you see a sample of it. I haven't done anything, like illegal, like drugs or anything, or prostitution, like seeing what happens. But I've seen around. I've seen people who've done like questionable things, and I'm not stupid. I can read very fast. What are they doing? And why? You observe people, and you're like, it's a sick environment, and unfortunately, those people influence the new generation. Big money is there. Hollywood, and a lot of startup companies. And it affects the brain, and the behavior of our children. And that's why you see, America, unfortunately, that's why I was, not to blame America, but especially California, everything has gone south because people, the parents, don't know what they're doing, they're sick, and then the person they're gonna give birth, guess what? They're gonna make it sicker. They're gonna, mess it up. So yeah, I wish I could, see any, change in that, and cleaning up Vegas or LA, but that would take, a magic. It's kind of like even I would say the same with the downfall of Disney. Last time I went there, I saw like a man going in the children's bathroom, girls' bathroom. I was like, as I was in the entrance, I was like, what? Because maybe the guy thinks he's a woman, whatever. I'm like, what's going on here? I'm like, what is this? It's like a joke. Even Disney, I'm like, for God's sake, you can't be safe anywhere. It's perversion, whatever. People have issues. Sick people. It's a ill place to be. It's unfortunately. Hopefully, I won't say this to the whole America because I haven't been to other places. Other places were more healthy, but the big city, especially LA, where I lived, has gone like completely off the rails. The anger that I'm going to discuss in the next videos, anger. I mean, you can't trust nobody. Everybody for their own, sickness. Everybody perverted. Everybody would, they would sell their body for, transactional, non-stop. And they have good heart. You can see the people are very nice. Deep inside, they are good heart. It's just they're sick. They're sick, because they've been traumatized, like I said earlier, by their parents. And they stay, and that's why, I mean, I can go one day more personally, but, people who go there usually are, people with trauma, who end up staying there, especially. It's people who have issues, Not healthy person will raise a family, in a city like that, Unless they're exceptions. I don't say everybody, And there are locations where they're very nice. But I would say for the biggest crowd, it's sick people, people who. And that's why this nation, unfortunately, it affects the rest of the world, because they have a lot of influence. And that's why I tell people to, wake up, and that's why I make those videos for myself, of course, to, to try to find solutions. Maybe somebody can give me more feedback, get their experiences or anywhere else where they notice that. But unfortunately, it's a big casino, LA is a big casino. You take a big gamble with your life. Most likely your dream won't come true. It's like, like the American dream to buy a house or whatever. It was just a dream, It just happened, boom, first come, first serve, whatever. In, out, it's like, you understand? It's like, this doesn't work, at least anymore, maybe before there were more windows in Vegas. I don't know. I wasn't there in the 70s. But, what I noticed, in the 90s, in 2000, that it's another, it's a good place to go. In fact, if you want to get an idea of America, I would recommend you to go to Vegas. Before we go to LA or New York, just go there for a couple of days, 3 days, and see, the poor people, the suffering, you see, like, those people are complete, gambling should be illegal. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. Alcohol involved, sex, like I said, drugs, crazy party, I've been to those events where it's completely, the pool is so dirty, people pay so much money, spend so much, for cheap drinks and, cheap sex. Just, I feel like teenagers, like adults, teenagers forever, and that's why LA has become too, people go 40, they do those, those surgeries, they want to be teenagers for like in the 50s or whatever. It's completely like, complete retardation, like next level, like, it makes sick people, literally sick. And and that's why you see nowadays, the countries have no kids, they have no family, no values, nothing. There's nothing left, nothing. No money, nothing. They just spend, and they go all in, and they double down. They can go 50, and in fact, they will go double in. The older they go, and the more behind they are, they go all in. Kind of like me, even me. Like I came here, I went all in. But at least I tried to escape, But still, it's I have I just have a child. I'm in my 50s. Yeah, I went all in. You understand? We go crazy. We become insane. From my personal experience, yeah, we don't even know what the fuck we're doing. We're trying to figure out last moment, last call, like panicked. At least I try, plan somehow, and I was lucky, I guess, to escape a bit, not stay there, have a family. Some woman who's going to divorce me within a year and take half. But yeah, that's why we're living. Unfortunately, this is. I wish I had more examples about Vegas, but yeah, I could sense it. I could see it. I was like, who's paying for all these lights? Who? And that's what happened. With the, kind of like LA and later with the with all those Section 8, all this, who pays, taxpayers like me who work all day, two jobs, on the side, hustles, to pay for other people to, you know, it's not just system, it's all unhealthy. It's not, no balance. There's no balance. And they guys feel the same. It was like other people pay for this. Like, I mean, of course, the people who go, waste their money, pay for it. For other people to have fun, It's not just system, you understand? It's just insane. It's like a joke, It's like playing Monopoly, but you wish when you're losing, the game is over so you don't have a heart attack, Because if it was real life, you kill yourself. It's not like, when you win Monopoly, you're happy, and that's what everybody expects to win. But unfortunately, when you play Monopoly, you realize that not all the time you're going to win. If you're lucky, maybe 1 out of 2. And that's how Vegas is, If you're lucky, 1 out of 2, maybe. Is that, that's not good odds. It's like 50% divorce. There's no good odds. Anyhow, I'm stop ranting. It was just an observation I want to share. Yeah, let me know if you like videos like this. I don't know. I mean, I like to talk about random stuff, but sometimes, it's good for me to remind myself things that I've experienced. I'm going to talk about things like veganism, what made me go vegan, what made me quit smoking, and other things that I connect with. Anyway, leave comments and talk to you in the next one. Take care. Hello to Luna.